And we are back. We took a couple weeks off, but we are back with Adam and Jake. Oh, do you want me to pause?
No, we're good.
No, we're good. Okay, Adam and Jake on the movies. I'm Jake.
I'm Adam.
I'm Destiny.
And, sorry, we couldn't hear you.
I'm Destiny.
Destiny sitting in on a show today. Good to have you. So every week we watch a movie. We find a movie, we watch it, and then we break it down with a few simple questions. And this week's film is The Interview.
The Interview, yep.
Released in 2014, written by Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogan, directed by Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogan, written by Dan Sterling, Seth Rogan, and Evan Goldberg, and starring James Franco as Dave Skylark and Seth Rogan as Aaron Rappaport. Do you have a synopsis?
No.
Stand by.
Sorry. Both my phones are being used right now.
All right.
Instagram and the comments. Hey, Felicia.
Dave Skylark and his producer Aaron Rappaport run the celebrity tabloid show Skylark Tonight. When they land an interview with a surprise fan, North Korean dictator Jong Un Kim, they are recruited by the CIA to assassinate him. All right, let's get going. First of all, had you seen this movie before?
Yeah, I'd seen this movie probably 6 times.
Oh, 6 times?
Yeah.
Okay. What was your initial? I had not seen this movie before. I've heard all about it, but never seen it before. Initial reactions. Do you go first?
So this came out back in 2014, and there was some controversy around this movie coming out. Do you know about this controversy?
I know a little bit about it.
So pretty much North Korea threatens Hollywood and somewhat of America if this film was released. So therefore, they pushed the release. Well, they made it where they didn't release it. Then they actually ended up releasing it in like 500 screens. And then Netflix like the next day and all the streaming platforms. And the movie turned out to be a non-threat at all. So my initial reaction was I was disappointed in this movie. Every time I've watched this movie, I have been disappointed in this movie.
And yet you watched it 6 times.
Yes. There are so many things that could be cut down to make this a really funny movie, but it misses the mark. I like Seth Rogan. James Franco is one of my favorites. The premise was pretty original, but they just missed the mark. And each time I watch it, in my mind, I know what I would cut out and what I would change to make it better. And I just wish I could do that, which is why I've watched it. What about yourself?
Yeah, so I once it was over, I was very disappointed.
Yes.
I don't even know if I would say I was disappointed. I mean, I would say I was kind of disappointed because I expected it to at least be, I knew it was going to be dumb. Like, right. I just knew it wasn't going to be, like, I knew it was going to test my intelligence as it would test anyone's intelligence. But I figured there would be a lot of really good jokes. Like, I felt like there would be a lot of funny moments, and I don't feel like it even delivered on funny moments. And I was like, like you said, I saw there were like glimpses of things that I was like, oh, I can like this. And then it would just carry on too long, or they would just shift gears and it would just turn into this random
stupidity.
It was just which again, I like dumb comedies, but this one was just
over the top.
Like, sometimes it's like there's dumb comedies that were written by smart people so you can kind of see that they're playing with it.
Yeah.
This one, I'm like, did you just throw a bunch of words on a piece of paper and then talk about how they came out?
Yeah.
It just, or was the whole thing like, it almost felt like it was improvised. Like a lot of it was improvised. It was not written, and nobody was like reeling them in. They were just saying, just go with it and let's see what happens. And that's where I was like, I think some of the jokes could have been good if they would have written the jokes. I don't know if it was improvised or not.
If they would have made it clever, the jokes weren't clever at all. None at all.
Yeah. So let's jump into the next part. What would you change about this movie? You've already kind of alluded to it, but what would you change about it?
James Franco's character, Dave Skylark, is over the top in every single way imaginable. If he would have reeled it in just a little bit, it would have been actually more of a clever satire than a silly, over the top, jumbled mess. One of the examples is there's a lot of the Lord of the Rings references in the movie that Dave Skylark says. In reality, James Franco didn't know anything about Lord of the Rings, so therefore they should have taken those jokes out and placed other jokes in there.
Yeah.
Another thing that I would have changed, they play the Katy Perry song Firework over and over and over, and then they do it in slow motion at the end, and the version that they use at the end isn't even Katy Perry.
Yeah.
They should have done it one time when he's in there. They're in there, Dave Skylark and Kim Jong-un, they're in the tank shooting. That little montage, cut it in half. Mm-hmm. Too long. There's a little, right after they give the ecstasy, what's it called? Ecstasy, whatever drug it is. Ecstasy? What's it called? Yeah. After he slips that in with his mouth, and he's going, nom, 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 nom. I did laugh at that little stupid joke there. Yeah. But then cut to like a 30-second montage of them like spitting in each other's mouth, all these girls around them partying, and then they use a very similar montage later on with Kim Jong-un and Dave Skylark on the basketball court.
Yeah.
The tiger scene, when they shoot that other strip and he has to stick it up his butt. That scene I would have completely taken out. It wasn't funny. It lasted, it's like an 8-minute scene, 0 laughs, taking it out. That one, all those changes would have shortened the movie by at least 20 minutes, tying up the dialogue. Seth Rogan doesn't need to get, spoiler alert, Seth Rogan doesn't need to get 2 of his fingers bitten off and spit at each other at the end. It's just too much.
It's way too much.
The whole sex scene when he, Seth Rogan and the lady, he's got the strip on his hand and they're trying to do all that stuff. Too much. Wasn't funny. Just dumb. Yeah. This could have been a great comedy, and it was a silly, underachieving comedy.
Yeah, I felt like okay, so Dave Skylark's character is, like you said, he's kind of crazy and he's off the wall. He's just ridiculous. But Seth Rogen, I don't feel like balances him out. I think for that character to work, Seth Rogen's character needs to be very straight-laced, very serious, and he needs to keep getting madder. Like, he does get mad, but he gets Seth Rogen mad of like, I'm so mad. It's like, this just, it's like not a serious mad. It needs to be the point where like he's just so angry that he just wants to like burn the place down. And that's where Seth Rogen, I'm like, I don't even know who you are. Like, so I would have rewritten that character and made him serious, made him balance out, and then he can get a little ridiculous towards the end as Skylark kind of comes towards the middle too. They both kind of work towards the middle.
Right.
But Seth Rogen's character, I was putting a lot of weight on him at the beginning, and he just kept losing it, and I was just like, I just don't care. And like you said, a lot of the jokes, I would have written jokes rather than just let them riff or whatever they were doing there. So
I've not seen the interview, but most of the movies he is a little bit over the top and too much. Most of his characters.
Yeah, and to have 2 over the top characters together is just too. It's like having 2 Barney Fifes. You can't have that. You can't base your whole story on the crazy characters. It's got to be somebody normal, and then put the crazy people around them.
No, Jake, here's a comment. Somebody just spit their drink out with your Seth Rogen impersonation.
Oh boy. Wow, that's It's very high praise. I don't think I've
And
ever.
really, that's one of the rare impersonations you've ever done.
That might be the last one we get for a long
That's one
time.
thing we can say about the show. Neither you and I can do impersonations.
No, you've got a couple.
I don't know.
You got a couple, but I got none.
I've
So
got the jerk and the douchebag. That's the two I can do.
you know what? That might have been my impersonation of Seth Rogen might be the most entertaining. If that was in the movie itself, might have been the most entertaining moment in the entire movie. What do you think about the characters? We talked a little bit about the characters, but character arcs.
No character arcs at all. I don't think.
Yeah.
Maybe Dave Skylark isn't quite as naive and dumb as he acts. Who knows? Seth Rogen. I don't think his character really evolved that much. He wanted to be respected more after not really his colleague, but his ex-friend was like a true producer, and he was like, well, we don't really do the same thing. And then that's the only time that Seth Rogen really wanted to do anything.
And then he doesn't.
Yeah.
Which drives me crazy. I'm like, you said you wanted to be a serious producer, and you've done nothing to be a serious producer.
Someone wants to hear my impression. I would do a random impression. I can't, like, for example, someone asked me yesterday, I'll tell this on the other people's show. I'll tell this story on the other people's show.
All right. Yeah. Okay. What about secondary characters? Anything there? I thought the what's his name? John. What do you call him? President Kim. We'll go with President Kim. I thought he was good.
Yeah.
I thought he was a fun character.
Yeah.
He was fun. I actually appreciated like kind of everything that he was doing. So I was kind of I was a big fan of that. And then the girl, I forget what her name was, but I didn't mind her either. I thought she was pretty good, but nothing that like blew me away or anything. So
nothing super special,
Yeah, we talked about music. I think the Katy Perry thing was like it's a great song that they ruined with the
even the songs that they had at the very beginning with the little girls singing.
Mm-hmm.
If you read the subtitles were just trying to evoke too much. They weren't clever. They were like, damn those Americans, they're beneath us. Over the top, not funny.
I agree with you. She said that Seth and James are funny, but they'll never be a Chris Farley or David Spade funny. But in Coneheads, they were great as well.
Which David Spade was always serious. He was always the one that was just trying to live his normal life, and it was Chris Farley kept messing things up.
Yeah.
And that's that you've got to have that straight character, and that's what was so good. He was like the what?
You got to have one that's tone and one that's outrageous, not two that's outrageous, or they're just going to knock each other out.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like you don't have a moment to breathe because it's like there's nothing normal in the whole thing, and you just can't enjoy it.
That James Franco and Seth Rogen, they're smart enough to have known that, and I don't see why. The premise was funny. They had Eminem on. They had all these celebrities at their leisure making these cameos that weren't funny. Joseph Gordon-Levitt in the little fenced-in puppies on Dave Skylark's show wasn't funny. Rob Lowe taking his hair off.
Yeah, Rob Lowe.
Was just, they had these random people that they could have made something really funny, but they missed it on every opportunity.
I feel like they put it together too fast, and they were more focused on the message than they were on storytelling.
Yeah.
And by doing that, you just fall apart. Like any kind of, I don't know, anything that's mostly message based.
James Franco is a good actor, but his acting wasn't good in this movie.
No,
it wasn't.
Seth Rogen was okay, but he played Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
That's all Seth Rogen does is play himself.
How did he play himself, did you say?
I don't even remember. You're going to have to go back and watch the tape. Rewatch this whole thing over again.
Yeah, he is.
There's just too much of him in his character, no matter what movie he does.
Yeah. Like
Travel Express. He's done Road Trip with his mom and everything, and he just still was too much.
Zach and Miri make a porno.
Zach and Miri make a porno. He's never not been himself in each of his movies.
You take somebody like Jonah Hill. He's Canadian, which I didn't realize that. But you take somebody like Jonah Hill, who kind of jumped into that same, like he kind of became like the next Seth Rogan.
Yeah.
But then he got into doing some serious work, and he really showed how good of an actor he is, and how like his acting chops. Never really seen that with Seth Rogen. I'm trying to look back and see if there's any time where he really did anything where like showed how good of an actor he was.
Seth Rogen's best acting movie that I've seen, it's a comedy and he plays himself basically, but it's an Adam Sandler movie called Funny People.
I haven't seen it, but I've
Adam
heard about
Sandler
it.
is kind of serious, and the movie's about 20 minutes too long, but that's where it's probably one of Adam Sandler's best acted comedic roles, and Seth Rogen as well. But the movie is about 20 minutes too long. I remember, I've only seen it once, but I remember watching it, liking it, but thinking this is a comedy shouldn't be over 2 hours long.
Oh no. Oh, that's way too long.
Yeah.
Way too much pushing it.
Yeah.
About an hour 40, hour 35 minutes.
Yep.
They keep your attention. But after that, like, how much more are you actually really going to
Because as we've discussed, you want to leave the audience wanting more, not saying, ooh, that's a little too long.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you have a favorite scene in this movie?
You know, my favorite scene is and it's an over the top scene, but I like Agent Lacey. And it's when Agent Lacey goes there and first tells them about the mission that they're going to be on. James Franco overacts. He talks about when she knocks on the door, you know, he's in the background talking about sniffing his hands because his balls smell. Mm-hmm. And he says it over and over. One time would have been enough. He says it 3 times.
Yeah.
And but I find that, that I guess it was my favorite scene. This might be sexist, but she had nice cleavage.
Okay.
And
typical man right there.
No, but the scene is set up to show that because they're apparently being honeypotted, which I thought was a funny term. I never heard that term.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that either.
So either that or the scene where he says they hate us because they ain't us. That little exchange. Stupid, ridiculous. For some reason, that stupidity was the only time I really laughed when he keeps saying it.
It stuck out to you.
Because James Franco or Dave Skylark is so adamant about that is a saying. They hate us because they ain't us. They hate us because they ain't us. He said, stop saying that. That's not even a saying. And then he's like, shh. They hate us because they ain't us. It's so ridiculous, but it made me laugh. So
yeah.
What about
I liked the opening scene. I thought that with the opening scene with Eminem,
yeah,
I liked it because I thought when that scene played out, I was like, okay, this is interesting. There's plenty of conflict here. These people are opportunists. It said a lot about the scene. I wasn't crazy about James Franco in that scene, but I was like, Seth Rogen seems like I like his character. I like where this is going. Unfortunately for me, it just like that was the end. It went downhill. I'm like, you could have just played out that one scene, and I would have been more satisfied than I was sitting through the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
I did like some of the scenes where they were playing. Him and President Kim were together. I thought those were kind of fun scenes, but I'd say the opening scene was just about the only scene that I really enjoyed. The rest of them were just kind of like, eh.
There's a scene. It's brief. It's near the end where Dave Skylark is sitting with Kim when they're sitting in like this some kind of a meeting, and Kim is about to start getting angry, and Dave Skylark is sitting there smoking a cigarette or something. Do you remember this scene?
Mm-hmm.
So it's right before that, and one of Kim's men starts talking, And Dave Skylarker's like, you all need to listen to what I'm saying. Hey, you right there, sit down, listen. He says something like that, and that always made me laugh as well.
Okay.
Because right after that, Kim gets mad. Then Dave Skylark is saying he's going to go out and take a walk, and then that's when he discovers those fake fruits and vegetables in the stand. But yeah, it didn't. I thought it was amusing, but it didn't have a lot of out laughs.
Yeah. What's your final thoughts on the interview?
If people want to check it out, go ahead and check it out. It's got its amusing moments. It's not laugh out loud funny. And it's more of a disappointment, but yet I've continued to watch it at least once a year since it came out. I saw it in the movie theater when it came out.
Okay.
I risked my life to go see this movie. Threat of being bombed.
You risked your life for this.
Yes. So,
that's a disappointment.
Yeah.
Check it out at your own risk. I would give it a 2 out of 5 stars if I were to rate it.
You'd have to give it more than that if you're going to watch it every year.
2.5 out of 5.
Half.
What about yourself?
I would say hard pass. I just don't think, like, there's just nothing about, like, there's nothing you can learn from it as a storyteller. There's nothing you can, it's just, like, there's a lot of dumb comedies out there that are so much better. I would say this one completely missed the mark. I would give it a 0.5 out of 10.
Okay.
I just think it was just bad. It was just like you talked about. I mean, when the guy, like, when the culmination of the movie is Seth Rogen getting his fingers bitten off and, like, spit back at him.
Twice.
It's like, where did this, what just happened?
Yeah.
So I don't foresee intentionally ever watching this film again. I think because of all the hype around it, I'm like, okay, I saw it, so that's an accomplishment in and of itself.
Now,
but that's where that's going to stop.
It's a big letdown.
Since we've done the show, is this the worst movie that we've watched, in your opinion? Is this your least favorite movie that we've watched? Or it was Hereditary?
Hereditary was pretty much. There's two types of. Hereditary was a well-made film. This, I just didn't like it. It was just nothing there for me.
You just didn't care for the genre of Hereditary, but you appreciate how it was made.
It was a well-done movie. I think that one film that I told you about, I can't remember what it was called. I'm looking through my list right now. I think that one was probably the worst movie that I've seen, but this one is a close second.
Okay. Oh, the Ben Affleck movie.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. That was probably the worst one.
Yeah.
Scene that we've done so far.
There was just, everything was wrong with that movie. This movie, it was just a cheap attempt at making a stupid. Oh. It was like a stoner film where, like, there was no stoning going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, what's the point? Like, what are you doing? I don't know. Anyway, I'd say it was the second worst, but it's close down there.
Okay.
Hereditary was at least a well put together movie.
Right.
I just didn't.
So do we have a film for next week, did we say?
Next week we're gonna shift gears, and we're gonna do Hugh Grant Rewrite.
Okay.
Hugh Grant, Marissa Tomei.
This is a movie I have not seen.
I just recently saw it, so it's still fresh in my mind.
Definitely check that out next week.
Yep. So we'll be back. Probably next Thursday. Hopefully next Thursday.
Good. Yeah.
And if people want to catch our shows, where can they find them?
They can check the shows on the Other People's Show on YouTube. They can also go to kingnetworktv.com on Roku TV, and it's also powered by Firestick TV as well now.
Right.
So and they can go to kingnetworktv.com and check out the on-demand section where you're in the face. It's Jake. So it's funny.
They should replace it with a Seth Rogen impression.
Yes, like
that was really good.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't even know what I did, so I couldn't even replicate it.
I don't know, but you made someone spit take.
Yeah, and you made us laugh, so it was good. So we
Mission
will be
accomplished.
returning in just a few moments for
Yes.
the other people's show. So
Yep, so that's going to do it for this show. So I'm Jake.
I'm Adam.
I'm Destiny.
And we will see you next time. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.